Welcome to the news now. And our first story, incumbent chairman of the opposition National Democratic Congress, Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo, is lacing his boots to face perhaps his biggest political battle. He comes up against the incumbent General Secretary Johnson Esiedun Ketia on the December the 17th National Delegates Congress of the party. Now, win or lose, one of the contestants will come out politically bruised. But Ofosu-Ampofo is confident of victory. Elton Brobe has more in this report.
The gloves are off, the line drawn in the sand, and there is no holding back as incumbent national chairman of the NDC, Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo, sticks his neck out to face perhaps the biggest battle of his political career. He will face the General Secretary of the NDC, Johnson Esiedun Ketia, in the contest of pride, supremacy, and command in the NDC. But he's absolutely certain he will retain the chairmanship slot.
Just 2 years in office as chairman of the party, together with my team of dynamic executives, we were able to increase our seats in parliament from 106 to 137. And our presidential votes also moved from 4.8 million to approximately 6.3 million. A very quantum jump. With your support, we can rescue our beloved country from the clutches of the Akufo-Addo MPP government that has brought untold hardships on Ghanaians.
Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo has had an illustrious political life since age 29, when he was first elected as branch organizer for the Fantiako constituency in the Eastern region. He will later go on to become a district chief executive, a deputy regional minister in the Eastern region, national organizer of the NDC, and a local government minister. He says the experience gained over the years is unmatched, and assured he will lead the NDC to win the 2024 general elections.
I pledge to continue to build an all-inclusive party, united and focused under the guidance of our core values of freedom, transparency, solidarity, probity, and accountability. And if I tell you I'm a unifier, indeed I'm a unifier.
But his reign as national chairman of the NDC has not been without criticism. The party's poor performance in the 2016 general elections, an allegation of non-collation of election results in the last elections, has been blamed on him. But Ofosu-Ampofo is rejecting the charge.
We collated our results. It is very clear. We have every resource there. And in that case, if we did not collate results, the chief executive of the party is the general secretary. He runs the party day to day. All the departments of the party under him, they report directly to him. So if he's coming to contest me, why do you single the chairman out and say the chairman should be held responsible? No, but I'm saying that people have their jobs cut out for them. I am not responsible for collation of election results.
He also believes the contest between him and Mr. Esiedun Ketia could have been avoided, as it risks dividing the party ahead of the crucial elections in 2024.
This move is a wrong move. It is not a politically correct decision. It may pursue in a personal interest, but we should have looked at the larger interest of the party. And there were moves by the Council of Elders. His Excellency President Mahama Nkasa making moves more than 1 year ago. And the General Secretary said that he had not taken a decision and that he has options. And so there were moves. There were every effort that was made to prevent this from happening. But, well, you can force the donkey to the riverside, but you cannot force it to drink. And if the person says, I'm going, it's a constitutional right. But I think that that right is not in the interest of the party.
But as delegates of the NDC decide who should lead the party, supporters of Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo have one demand for their candidate: Kum Ntontom Preko, to wet, kill mosquito once.
Victory will be for Ofosu-Ampofo come December 7th, and we are going to teach somebody a bitter lesson. From victory unto victory, the shall be.
Elton Brobe.
Now, Food and Agriculture Minister Dr. Wusue Akoto is asking district directors of agriculture to be proactive by halting the smuggling of foodstuffs and other farm products to neighboring countries. He says food produced in the country is highly subsidized, hence traders smuggle them out of the country for sale at higher prices. Dr. Akoto made the statement as part of his two-day tour of the Upper West region. Rafiq Salam now reports from Wa.
The Upper West region hawk headlines for the wrong reasons. The last time Food and Agriculture Minister Dr. Usofri Akoto came to town for a meeting with stakeholders. Fertilizer smuggling was at its zenith, and he was visibly angered and described the region as the fertilizer smuggling capital of Ghana.
So it's a very serious problem, and for some reason I've always had a problem with this region. It started with fertilizer smuggling, and that I used to call this region the fertilizer smuggling capital of Ghana, and it's true.
2 years after the tour, it appears the smuggling of the subsidized fertilizer has simmered down, creating another opening which Dr. Afriya Akoto sees as a bigger sin against the Ghanaian taxpayer.
And now, with the withdrawal of the subsidy or the reduction of the subsidy substantially, they have now turned their attention to our products, which is even more dangerous. So please, let's take this very, very seriously.
Few days ago, at the 38th Upper West Region celebration of the National Farmers Day, Interior Minister Ambrose Zeri expressed worry of the same issue. However, the pendulum blame this time has largely swung from input dealers and extension officers.
Appointed with the regional director of agriculture to say that I hear. You hear what? This is the sweat of the Ghanaian farmer, the sweat of the Ghanaian taxpayer, and you are in charge of the region. If you hear, you have to take action. At least you have to dedicate all the border districts. You have the district directors of agriculture. You should be able to collect information and tell us. And send reports to us that this is what we are learning, so many tracks of this crossing, of this product. You just don't sit and say you hear. You hear what? Of course, we all hear, but that's not the point.
Well, staying on the same theme, Asantehene Otumfuose II is worried about the country's overdependence on imported goods, including staples to feed the Ghanaian citizenry, at the expense of the vast plantations available for local food production. He believes maximizing local farming would reduce the expensive importation of food crops to save the depreciating cedi and eventually restore the economy. During a courtesy visit by the 2022 National Best Farmer at the Manchia Palace, the Otumfuo advised the youth, traditional leaders, and even government officials to venture into farming to foster development in Ghana.
Despite the sizable land resources available in Ghana, the country is yet to be self-reliant in its agricultural production as it currently imports food staples including rice and tomatoes. The Asantehene bemoans the country's inability to produce some essential crops locally as the youth hunt for white-collar jobs other than pursuing agriculture to boost the economy.
Tomato free baby neighbor. Tomato, you come with neighbor. Ya cram more neighbor. The sacram more neighbor. Ya cram nuani a baby efrabon. Yes, I say, I want to have a second dollar cray out, ya can ye decrain answer. Cocoa near gold in a corner, dear, but a bruise so I dare near the bay.
Ghana imports rice, tomatoes and other food items, but we complain of hardship. The money used for importation contributes to the depreciation cedi. If we grow these crops locally, we can improve the economy. The youth nowadays prefer staying at the offices than being on the farm.
And then the puppy so you will be answered person yekuya. Obia we school person office. Now I'm directed by. I'm directed by.
A delegation from the Jabin Traditional Council, including the 2022 National Best Farmer, Nana Yausrebo's son of Jabin Maihene, paid a courtesy visit to the Manchia Palace. The Asantehene, amazed at the achievements of Nana Yausrebo, admonished other traditional leaders to follow in the footsteps of Achempem Hene to take up agriculture in providing a livelihood for their indigents.
Nana Mahini Kane Konabia will go qua nephew than Nakonya and Nana Maki Chachazuni Kuntu Green Kumazia Bontenswani.
Every stool has a land allocated to it, but the chiefs prefer to stay in the cities than to farm on these lands. We should emulate this to build our country.
And that the
Nanaya Sapon Sribo was adjudged the best national farmer at the 38th Farmers' Day celebration for his extensive production in both mixed crop and livestock farming. With current technological advancements in farming, the 43-year-old mechanical engineer reiterated the urgency for the youth to be involved in farming.
With technological advancement, farming is not the hoe and cutlass method that we used to know, and it's not the small-scale method that we used to know. Farming has really advanced, whereby you can do a lot of things with technology that has come up. So it is good for the youth, with the education that they have, to get themselves involved. And also, as you can see, we have to phase out the aged. You see, and because without farming, without agriculture, as a nation, we cannot survive.
For Joy News, Emmanuel Bright Kweku reporting.
Now, any attempt to forcibly stop nomadic herders from entering the Ashanti regional town of Ejura during the upcoming dry season will have disastrous effects on farmers. That's according to leaders of the Fulani community, who say plans by the security authorities to stop the movement of cattle that are approaching the limits of Ejura will cause them to disperse, inflicting even more damage. This also comes after the Ejura Traditional Council declared a ban on the activities of nomadic herdsmen in protection of farms amidst security concerns. Nanaya Ojima has more in the following report.
The Ejura Traditional Council has taken a decision to flush out nomadic herdsmen and their cattle in communities within the area. The chief of Ejura, Berima Osei-Hwede II, recently destood his sub-chief for his alleged role in aiding herdsmen to perpetrate crime at Memenase No. 1 and 2. This was after farmers and inhabitants accused the herdsmen of being behind recent robbery attacks, including the killing of a police constable and destruction of farms in recent times. Abuafonhene of Ejura Traditional Council, Nanaya Wapia, affirms the council's decision to evict the herdsmen from the communities.
So the Fulani community in Ejura as a whole, we don't have a problem with them. We have never had a problem with them. The issue has to do with those who come in. Normally, they are not even from Ghana here. But as Ghanaians, as welcoming as we are, when they come in, we think that they come to feed their cattle and go away. But they come along with this robbery, kidnapping, and destruction of farm produce. So we've resolved that enough is enough.
The leadership of the Fulani community in Ghana, however, says the use of force to stop migrating cattle may cause the animals to disperse, which may lead to destruction of many farms. General Secretary of the Tabita Palaku International, Yakubu Musa Bari, suggests the traditional authority soften its stance on the matter.
The timing of his invoking was very, very close. The animals have already moved. They are even close to enter. And if you say you disrupt them and stop them, they will spread. And that will bring a lot of security threat within that community, within the community or even the district.
Musa Bari also expressed concerns about what he described as continuous stereotyping of the Fulani community.
We are also whistleblowers to the security. When we see, we spoke, we engage them and bring out the bad notes to them. By the end, the next minute you see them out on the street again. And then the information we are getting, allegedly, they have godfathers. When they are being arrested, some godfathers came with huge amounts, change hands, and these criminals will come out again.
The Member of Parliament for Ejura Setridumase, Mohammed Bawa Brahima, who is also a member of Parliament's Defence and Interior Committee, called for urgent solution to the concerns in the area.
They should come out with a plan that their coming will not endanger life and property. And if whatever plan that they bring sits well with the traditional authorities, all of us will sit down together and see whether their continuous influx into this constituency will not be to the detriment of our people.
Police in the area are continuing investigation into recent attacks, including the killing of the police constable. For Joy News, Nanaya Ojima, Ejura.
Now, Director of African Studies at the Oxford University, Professor Miles Lamer, says a major way of ensuring optimal benefits of the mineral resources on the African continent is through corporate social responsibility. The University of Oxford, in partnership with Ghana Gold Expo, is seeking to promote corporate social responsibility in mining communities. Now, in an interview with Joy News, the Oxford University professor said there was no better time than now for a push as far as the corporate social responsibility agenda is concerned.
Everyone knows that the vast majority of Africa's mineral resources, the continent is hugely rich in gold, in copper, in cobalt, in other minerals. And for a century, those resources have flowed out of Africa. Africans have seen very little benefit, either at a government level or at a community level. We think that corporate social responsibility provides one good avenue to ensure that more of the resources produced by African minerals and African communities stays on the continent. So Oxford University's African Studies Centre, of which I'm the director, is collaborating now with Ghana Gold Expo in a workshop to explore what is being done in corporate social responsibility, good practice, but also sometimes its limitations, to hope to improve that. So we've brought experts from Oxford, most of whom are themselves African, Ghanaian, Burkinabe, Zambian, to learn about practicing corporate social responsibility and to try and find ways to influence and to encourage good corporate social responsibility. That means paying taxes and royalties, but it also means investing in the communities that produce gold and are affected by gold production. Corporations in Africa have responsibilities for communities in every sector, in banking, in finance, in industry. But mining has historically been an area of particular exploitation. Mineral resources have often been smuggled out of the country, they can be easily manipulated, and Africa is, of course, particularly rich in minerals. But mining in Africa, unlike in other parts of the world, hasn't always led to industrialization. We don't see mining-based secondary industry that can add value. We don't see enough refining, for example, of these minerals on the continent itself.
Well, the executive director of the Ghana Gold Expo, Dr. Stephen Blessing Aka, has been explaining the reason for the collaboration with Oxford University and how the nation stands to benefit.
Ghana Gold Expo is an international platform that connects and collaborates with various key stakeholders in the mining sector. So we decided that we are bringing Oxford University together because we want to bridge the academia and the technicality in mining. So this is why we decided that we collaborate with Oxford to look at one of the key areas in terms of the investment agreement between the mining companies and how royalties are being managed by the government of Ghana. Oxford has the leadership program that is organized mostly between Oxford and a lot of African leaders. And they approach us, actually we didn't approach them, they approach us and they saw the work that Ghana Gold Expo is doing and also the synergy that we brought around the government key stakeholders. And they said, why not? This is what they want to do. They want to come into the country to understand more of royalty programs, corporate social responsibility, and therefore they see that they can work with Ghana Gold Expo to make this happen. So at the end of the day, they will be able to have a common understanding and also to pledge on how to support the host communities in the mining sector. I think so far we have the top 6 mining companies coming for the workshop, so it's good for us. Also, we have the support of the Ministry of Finance because the Ministry of Finance mostly manages the royalties, and also have a Minerals Income Investment Fund that are like the custodian of the royalties. So it's good that we have these two, and we are hoping that we'll come to understand to have a common platform so that the money that or the support that we receive from these mining companies will be distributed well to support the Ghanaian, the ordinary Ghanaian that is on the street. Because more often, we have more than 60 mineral resources, but we all know that we are not seeing the benefits. So we are hoping that this workshop is going to open doors for the mining company to have a full understanding on how to give back, and also for how government can also distribute these returns to the people in Ghana.
Well, on that note, we wrap the news for this morning. But coming up next, we dig into the papers with lawyer Bobby Banson for the news review. Do stay for that.